Good morning, everyone. My name is Nicholas Reid from Reid Corporate, and on behalf of James Bay Minerals, ASX ticker JBY, welcome to the company's inaugural investor webinar. Well, as I'm sure most of you know, James Bay has had an absolutely blistering start to its life as an ASX-listed lithium explorer. The stock raced out of the blocks after making its debut on Tuesday morning, opening at a 40% premium to its IPO price of 20 cents and trading up to 45 cents during the week. There are a few key reasons why James Bay has been the talk of the town this week. One is the scale and location of its key lithium projects in the world-class James Bay district in Quebec, Canada. The other is the strong credentials and experience of its board and management team. And finally, it's the extremely well-supported nature of the recently concluded $6 million IPO. To give us some insights into what James Bay has and where it's headed, I'm delighted to have the company's Executive Director, Andrew Dornan, join me this morning to run us through a presentation and to take your questions. Remember to use the Q&A tab on your webinar browser and log your questions while Andrew is presenting so that we can deal with them all once he's concluded. Andrew, it's great to have you on the webinar this morning. Congratulations on the listing and what's been a fantastic week for the company. Please go ahead and run us through the James Bay story.
Awesome. Thanks very much, Nick, and welcome all online today. Really excited to get through our first webinar. As Nick's mentioned, it's been a fantastic week for us, and we've been really well supported. So James Bay Minerals, we're a Canadian-focused lithium explorer, not just Canada, but particularly in the James Bay region. So we'll run through today our investor presentation, and I'm happy to take any questions at the end. Standard disclaimer, please read through that at your own leisure. So company snapshot. So James Bay Minerals owns 100% interest in just over 22,000 square hectares of prospective lithium properties in the James Bay region of Quebec. Corporate summary, there's 60.5 million shares on issue. At the IPO, it was a 20-cent listing price for a market capitalization of 12.1. Now we're sitting at about a 40-cent share price, which would be equivalent to a 24 million market cap, which is fantastic. Shows great support from existing and new shareholders from the past few days. Fully funded with $6 million cash in the bank. Top 20 shareholders being approximately 71%. So it's an extremely tightly held company register. And we also have near on 50% of the register escrow with vendors, board and management, which really means that we're all really incentivized to see this build into a fantastic company. So the board of directors are significant lithium and industry experience. Myself, so near on 2 decades in senior commercial roles across major and mid-tier mining organisations, where I've been responsible for the commercial departments and various projects. In the lithium space, spent some time at Pilbara Minerals and also at Tianqi Lithium, where established the commercial execution strategy for the Kwinana lithium hydroxide plant. And also spent a significant amount of time at Fortescue Metals Group, Newmont and Rio Tinto. Gerardo Donovan, our non-executive chair, significant lithium experience, currently the managing director of Battery Age Minerals, who have a hard rock asset in Ontario. Gerardo had also spent near on 6 years at Pilbara Minerals, where he oversaw the Stage 1 Pilgangoora mine into production, and also was responsible for the integration of Altura operations into the existing PLS business. Judy Baker, non-executive director, a geologist who was an 8-year director of Nemaska Lithium, where she led the discovery of the Whabouchi asset, which up until earlier this year was the largest hard rock lithium asset in all of North America. And then our final non-executive director, Dina Segovic, is a founding director and chief operating officer of Primero Group, where he spent near on 11 years. Primero operates in multiple regions globally and in Quebec, and are an industry leader in design, construction and operations of lithium processing facilities. Now, across the whole team, we've probably been involved in 10 successful lithium organisations or projects, and we really feel we've got a fantastic team that can drive this company forward. Senior management, so our in-country geologists, Mark Fichetti and Marty Hubert, near on 50 years experience. They're from Quebec, they're fluent in French, they have really good relationships with suppliers and the local communities, so it's fantastic to have them over there. Daniel Loughnane is our CFO, James Dorr, Company Secretary, and Matthew Hayes is our Corporate Development. So jumping in now and zooming in on the James Bay region and our properties. Our properties are highlighted in the navy blue, being in the north Jewel Aero Aqua, and to the south being Trollus. Now, what makes our properties premium prospective lithium properties? Well, we see that as three key ingredients for making our properties premium lithium properties. The first being that they sit within the right Archean rock age of 2.6 to 2.8 billion years old. The second being that they sit within proximity or have large regional faults or deformation zones running through the property. They're all outlined on the screen now in the dotted lines. There are smaller deformation zones or regional faults within the region, but the smaller the deformation zone, the smaller the size of the LCT pegmatites. So we're really excited that we sit on these large to giant deformation zones where the other companies have had success on. And the third key ingredients is sitting in proximity to greenstone belts. So we've got them overlaid on the screen as well. And as you can see across all our properties and just to the east of Trollus, all sit within the right Archean rock age, large regional faults or deformation zones, and close to greenstone belts. So from an early start exploration for lithium, we really tick all the boxes. So the theory that we've got with those three key ingredients, we then pull up some of the recent large discoveries and resources in the area, starting to the east of us, Patriot Battery Metals, Winsome Cansett, Mere Lithium Q2 Metals, James Bay Allchem, Critical Elements, Rose Asset, the Wabuchi asset, owned by Namaska, which Judy led the discovery of, and the Moblin Sayona asset, which sits just 5 kilometres south of our Trollus property. So we're in a great jurisdiction, which has had some of the fastest rate of discoveries of recent times. So our Jewel property, you see this is our flagship asset, has 24 kilometres of deformation zone running through the property, and on average 800 metres wide. In some sections it's estimated to be 1 kilometre wide. Really, really exciting to get out on the ground and explore these deformation zones. In comparison, there's just over 300 kilometres of regional faults in the Lagrange region, and between our three properties we account for 36 kilometres thereabouts, which is over 10%. So we're really excited to get out there and see what's on the ground. The Aero and Aqua properties, so deformation zone, some regional faults running through the north. Aero, important to note, road access, has power lines running through the property, and also has an airport or an airstrip, which has cellular comms. So for quite a remote region, it's well set up for establishing a site. And then the Aero property the Aqua property, deformation corridor running through the middle, and is sitting, that's the far east project. The Trollus property, which is the far south property, sits, as I mentioned earlier, just 5 kilometres to the north of the Moblin lithium project owned by Sayona. That's been upgraded to quite a significant resource in the last 6 months. And Sayona have also acquired all lithium rights across the Trollus gold deposits in the orange in the middle, and they're undertaking a 60,000 metre drill program as we speak. So we'll be looking very closely at the data that they generate from this. Upcoming activities. So we're looking to get on the ground ASAP and target prospecting and field mapping across the Legrand project. We're also looking to undertake LiDAR and high resolution aerophotography across both Legrand and Trollers projects, and then run high resolution mag spec surveys. We have a helicopter booked in for early October. So we've got that for 10 days, which will allow us to get to some of the more remote sections of our properties. So we're really looking to hit it hard over the next probably 4 to 6 weeks before the first snowfall of the year, and then use that data to plan our next steps. So in summary, why James Bay Minerals? We're in a tier 1 region containing giant LCT pegmatite deposits, and we have premium properties in that area. All of our properties sit within the right 3 key ingredients, being the right Archean rocks, major regional faults, and in proximity to greenstone belts. And we have an experienced board and management team who have extensive experience in the lithium space, and we'll be looking to leverage all the value out of the company that we can. And then we're also just going through a time that probably hasn't been seen since the Industrial Revolution in the energy transition, and we really feel we're at the front of this, and we're looking to maximise by exploring out in James Bay. So quite a brief presentation, but it gives a good overview of the company and where we're heading.
That's fantastic. Thanks very much, Andrew. Excuse me. Let's get into questions. Please, just a reminder to everyone, jump on the Q&A tab and fire in your questions. Andrew, I might just start with, I suppose, what's been a topical issue in the James Bay region this year, the extensive wildfires that have impacted explorers up there. What has been the impact of those fires? And I guess, I'm assuming the areas you were in were impacted. What has there been any sort of ongoing consequence from that?
Yeah, so very unfortunate, the fires. It's been extreme, and it's gone through the whole region of Quebec. I think there is a silver lining to the fires, is that it's cleared away a lot of shrub and a lot of the low kind of vegetation, which will really allow our exploration team to access areas we probably wouldn't have been able to. And then also, after the snow clears out next year, we're probably going to see a season that hasn't been seen ever, in that it'll be quite clean, and if there is any outcrops, they'll be sitting proud as a lot of the vegetation's burnt away. So not ideal for the environment, obviously, but I think it could prove to be quite beneficial for our exploration.
Thanks, Andrew. Question here from an investor: Is there any historic data available or government data for these projects that can help guide or help you to hone in your exploration?
Yes. So the Quebec government's done a lot of surveys over the years, and in the early 90s went out and took a lot of soil samples and that. So yeah, there is some good data that we're looking to use, and it's what's really generated the quality maps that we have. So yeah, significant amount of data that we can use, and we'll be looking to use as much of it as we can.
Next question here is, can you give us a bit more colour around your drilling plans, timing and execution?
Yeah, sure. So obviously you need to have some quite firm targets before you lock that in. So the program we're running over the next 4 to 6 weeks, we'll be using that data to plan our next steps. And if that is that we're in a position to undertake a drill program, we'll look to do that as soon as possible. And if not, we'll continue down the grassroots exploration stage until that point.
Thanks, Andrew. One question that has arisen is that you've obviously put a lot of time into and work into identifying these properties, and there's a lot of companies rushing into the James Bay region. Can you give us a bit more colour around the history and also the vendors of these projects?
Yeah, so our broader group has spent it'd be over 2 years looking at all the different types of lithium deposits globally and the intricacies of each of them. So we covered sedimentary, unconventional, brine, hard rock, and we mapped them all out. And as we went through it, sedimentary and unconventional, not yet commercially proven, so it wasn't really a space we wanted to be in. And then we had a look at brine, but it's extremely water intense, and we really didn't want to get into a process that has got significant pushback from communities, and the team's got hard rock expertise. So then after we've mapped all those different deposits, we really then went through and looked at the jurisdictions that they sit within, which resulted in eliminating a lot of non-tier 1 jurisdictions, which have some kind of sovereign risk associated with them. And then as we narrowed it down, we really landed on 2 key areas, which lead to large to giant discoveries. And we landed on Western Australia and Quebec, particularly the James Bay region. And Western Australia was extremely saturated. And we focused in on Quebec, and we've built a lot of relationships over the last couple of years. And Mark and Marty, who are our geologists, they are the vendors. So they're invested, they're on the ground, and they're incentivized to make a discovery. So we're really fortunate that we have such a strong team.
Andrew, in terms of infrastructure, logistics, access, I guess James Bay perhaps has an unjustified reputation for being a bit more remote and harder to operate in than, say, Ontario. But can you give us a bit of a feel for how conditions are and where you are around your properties?
I think our properties have the highway running quite close in the instance of aero runs through the property. So we'll be able to access our properties all year round. But our background's also, I've worked in the Pilbara for a lot of years now, and there's always been logistical challenges with that. And with the knowledge and skills that we have, it's always something that we've been able to overcome. As far as the eastern properties go, non-James Bay, they get a bit more remote in the James Bay region, but we're quite close to Radisson, which is the Hydro-Quebec hub. So we can access our sites relatively easy compared to others, but there's no doubt there'll be challenges along the way.
Thanks, Andrew. An online question just coming from an investor here. Is there any evidence at all of spodumene pegmatites in the tenements, and perhaps stemming from some of the work by the vendor geologists?
No, not at this stage.
Okay, so we'll be looking forward to the inaugural exploration program with interest.
We all will be.
Fantastic. Well, look, I think we've probably covered all the questions that have come through. So nice, short, simple and clean story. Andrew, perhaps if you just want to give us a couple of closing comments.
Yeah, I suppose all our investors that are online really appreciate the support, whether you come in through the IPO or the last few days. We're really excited by what we have ahead of us. We are a James Bay focused organisation. We've been looking at this for a number of years. There has been a lot pop up in the area of recent times, but we feel we've got premium properties in that area, and we're really excited by what lies ahead of us. So thanks everyone for joining, and thanks Nick for running the webinar, and look forward to providing more updates over the next couple of months.
Thanks, Andrew, and thank you to everyone for joining us. A recording of this webinar will be available on YouTube and the company's socials in the next couple of hours. Thank you for tuning in. An exciting story, a new story on the ASX, fantastic debut for James Bay this week, and lots of news to come. So I'm sure we're going to have Andrew back on one of these webinars in due course as the company starts its exploration campaign and starts to deliver news flow. So once again, thank you all for joining. Have a great day.
Thanks everyone, appreciate it.